Right. And so we are given this, what we are given is the question, question number 4. And so we are asking to suppose that the demand and supply for the monthly gym membership are given as follow. So the quantity demanded QD given represented by the function 600 minus 10p, and then the quantity supplied 10p minus 300. These are the two functions that we have, okay? The other one is representing supply, then the other one is for the demand. And so the required is to determine the equilibrium price and the quantity. That is what we are supposed to do. So what we should understand is that at market equilibrium, when all the markets clear, supply is equal to demand. That is when the market's clear, okay? If the market's clear, we mean that the market is in equilibrium, which is actually the point at which supply equals demand. At this point, the price, okay, that we have is the price that can help the market to be in equilibrium, the point where demand equals supply. So this price is called an equilibrium price. And at the same time, there is also this quantity that comes out when the market has cleared. It is called an equilibrium quantity, right? So we are looking for these numbers here. We're looking for the price here. We're also looking for the quantity here. That is what we are trying to do. So let's try to go through the work, okay? Let's just try to go through. So we find this price and this quantity. To find this one, you don't even need to suffer. You just write it on the same statement that I've just said. I've said that quantity supplied at equilibrium is equal to quantity what? Demanded, okay? For that reason, you will equate the two equations, the one for quantity supplied, because you said quantity supplied is equal to 10p minus 300, that to equal 600 minus 10p. Any question? Is there any question? Okay. Once you equate the two equations, then you can just make P the subject of the formula, because you've seen that all the two sides of the equation, they have a P, so you can make P the subject of the formula. Therefore, you shall have 10P plus the other 10P, that to equal 600 plus 300. What have we done? We have collected the like terms together. So this negative 10 has come this side and has become positive, and this positive 300 has come this side and that's become negative 300 has become positive 300 altogether. And so we will have 900 on the right side of the equation and 20p on the other side of the equation. So we divide through by 20 so that we are able to get p and by 20, so that p can equal to what? What's the value of p? You can easily cancel this one, 2 into that one. Fine. Yeah. So the equilibrium price shall equal 45. Any question? Okay. Now that there is no question, we want also to find a quantity. We are asking both for price and quantity at equilibrium. So now that you have already found the P, the price, we can just substitute the price that we have into the quantity demanded equation. Once we substitute the P into any of these two equations, the one for demand and that one for supply, then we should be able to reach at the answer. So if you can use the quantity demanded equation, you shall have 600 minus 10 times 45, because where there is P now, we are putting 45. Okay, so that the quantity can equal 600 minus 450 if we say 10 times 45. And so 600 minus 4.
So please come again there. I've lost you in the quantity.
Okay, so I've said for the quantity, you choose any of these two equations, right? Either the quantity demanded equation or the quantity supplied equation. And so everywhere where there is P, you shall replace by putting what? By putting 45. So this is what we are doing. So we have 600 less 10 times 45, giving us 450. And so you will have 600 minus 45 to give us what?
150.
150. And so I call for the question. Any question? So the two are the equilibrium points. So equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price is just found by doing that. Is there any question? Okay. Maybe to just lift up the conversation a bit, yeah, you have seen that you can replace, by the way, in any of the equations, you still find the same answer. If you want, you can try this in the supply equation as well. Yeah, where you have 10p minus 300, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it will be 10 times 45, minus 300, so that you can have 450 minus 300, so that it gives you 150 as the quantity, right? Still the same conversation. Okay. Hello? Am I speaking so fast that people are unable to hear me? Okay, hearing is one thing and understanding is one thing. Are people able to follow?
Yes.
Okay. If they are able to follow, then well and good. We can proceed. Let me lift up the conversation a bit and look. Get this one now. When we draw the demand, this graph, right? Supply, demand, you have found the equilibrium quantity here and the equilibrium price, isn't it? So we can put these numbers now. Check what is happening. This is very important. So here there is 45. Here on equilibrium quantity, there is what? 150. Now, your question should be, what about at the intercepts? What do we have as the intercepts? What do we have here as the maximum price here on top? And on quantity, what is the maximum quantity here? What do we have? Remember, there are two numbers here. There is a quantity here, the last figure, and the last figure on price. Did you hear what I said? You didn't? Like, when you draw this graph, there is always a last number here, which is the maximum price. And here there is also the number for the quantity, right? Then there are these equilibrium ones, the equilibrium one and the equilibrium price, right? So we have found these two, but what if you are also interested in finding the maximum price and maximum quantity? Okay, so how you would do this one, since these are intercepts, okay? These being intercepts, you get the demand equation. You want to find the number that is here on price. We want to find this one. So what you do, you get the demand curve, which is saying quantity equal 600 minus 10p, right? So what you are going to do is, since it is the intercept, you want to find P. For you to find P along the demand curve, you will use the demand function, okay? You want to find the intercepts, okay, of the demand curve. You get the demand function. And when you get the demand function, if you want P, you will set quantity equal 0. Okay. So for you to find P, you set quantity equal to 0 because you are assuming that what is the price, okay? What is the maximum price at 0 here, at 0, when the quantity is equal to 0, that is what will give you the maximum price here. So you say 0 equal 600 minus 10 what? 10p, so that 10p can equal 600. And we divide through by 10 to find P, so that our P can equal 60. And so the maximum price here that we find, when the equilibrium one is 45, the maximum price is 60. That's the price we find on the intercept. Right. Did you get this one? You didn't? Right. So I was saying, in case you also have to find because look, you can be told to sketch the equation, right? Yeah. If the lecturer wants to be a little bit interesting, what they can do after asking you these quantity, they can tell you to sketch the demand curve, demand and supply curve, this one. So you can sketch this. This is what I'm telling you from the functions that you're given. Okay. So how do you sketch? You have found the equilibrium quantity and price. That is what you have done. Then you also need the intercepts now on the price and on the quantity. So I've done for the price. To find for the price, you just set the quantity equal to 0 in the demand equation. That will give us the price. You solve that equation, it will give us the price. We had to set quantity equal to 0. And so after solving the equation, making P the subject of the formula, we found P to equal 60. Any question? Okay. Now that P is equal to 6, what about quantity? We also need the one on the quantity side here. So what number are we going to find? So now, since you are looking for the quantity, you are assuming that if the price is 0, what will be the quantity? So you set price equal to 0 if you want the quantity. So it will be quantity equal 600 minus 10 multiplied by 0, because we're assuming that P is equal to 0. And so your quantity shall equal 600. Yeah. Right. Okay. So when you do this, you'd have graphed the equation. You have sketched the equation, the graph, sorry. This is the graph that you have sketched from the same functions that you have been given. Is there any question?
No question from.
Right. If there is no question from any of us, we can go to question number B. Now, explain what would happen if the price is set above or below the equilibrium. Let's begin from above equilibrium. You know, the equilibrium price is 45. Let's assume maybe it's 50 here. Okay. What if you set it at 50? What happens? See now what happens? You are able to see the quantity, right? What happens to the quantity? The quantity does what? Decreases, isn't it? Yes. Have you seen that? When the price has been set above the equilibrium price, the quantity demanded has what? Has reduced. from 150 to a certain number. If you want to get this specific number, you can just use the demand equation. Just use the same demand equation. 600 minus 10 times what now? Times 50, isn't it? Where there is P, you put 50. So it will be 100, right? It will be 600 minus 500. Did you get that one?
Yes.
I didn't.
So Q, okay, thank you. So I was saying that the question is what happens if the price is set below and above the equilibrium? So in the meantime, I've studied for above the equilibrium. So to do that, we have said that if the price is set above the equilibrium, in our case, we have assumed the 50, right? It's above 45, which is our equilibrium price. So I have drawn a line to show you what happens. You can see that when you draw this line towards the demand curve and then move downward, you see that the quantity will decrease from 150 to this Q, right? Now, if you are interested in knowing the magnitude of the Q, okay, of this Q, you have to substitute this 50 into the demand function, this one, which is saying Q is 600 minus 10 what? 10p, right? Where there is P, you put the price 50, okay? And so you shall have 600 minus what? 500. That your Q can equal 100. Is that fair?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Then at the same time, look, what will be the supply? Check. You just extend your graph towards the supply curve. What happens?
Okay.
Supply will do what? We increase to Q, right? Are you seeing that? Supply is increasing to Q when the price has been lifted up. So what is this Q? If you're interested, go now to the supply equation where there is 10p minus 300 and put where there is P, the 50. So you say 10 times what? 50 minus 300, right? Are you following? So you have 500 minus 300 so that your supply can equal 200. Is that okay?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So now this is to give, you know, or this is to obey the law of demand and the law of supply. The law of demand states, holding all other factors constant, ceteris paribus. If you increase the price for a normal good, the quantity demanded decreases. And you saw that, right? When the price was increased, the quantity demanded reduced. At the same time, that's the law of demand, right? It says there is an inverse relationship between quantity demanded and the price. There is a negative relationship between the quantity demanded and the price. And so we know that the law of supply does state that there is a positive relationship between the quantity supplied and the price, isn't it? The relationship between quantity supplied and price is positive. That is to say, if you increase the price, even the quantity supplied does what? It increases, isn't it? That's what the law of supply states. And we have seen through the graph, using the graph, we have seen that if you increase the price from 45 to 50, even the quantity supplied has increased from 150 to 200, yeah? Right. So is there any question? So what can you say now? Look what happens. So if you set the price above the equilibrium, then what are you going to have? you will have the quantity demanded reducing, then the quantity supplied increasing. Then you will have excess supply. Have you seen that? There is excess supply. The companies are willing to supply as much as 200 units, but the demanders, the community, the consumers are willing to demand and are able to purchase only 100 units. Is that clear? At 50, the consumers are willing and are able to buy only 100 units, right? But the suppliers are willing and are able to supply 200 units. So that will lead into what is known as the excess supply. Any question? You have the excess supply, and the excess supply is the difference between 200 and the 100. So you have 100 units. They are too much on the market. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to, I think you've said it, to say it in terms of shortage and excess and the surplus.
Yes, sir. So
Is
this
it the
is
same thing?
Yeah, this is the excess. This is the surplus. Yeah, excess is surplus. You have the surplus of supply. So I've supplied too much on the market than what can be accommodated or than what the consumers are willing to get and are able to get. Does that help?
Yes, that's just a clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let's look at it from the other side. What if we set the price below the equilibrium? Right. What if we set the price below the equilibrium? What marker can I use now? Are you able to see this mark? Are you able to see yellow? You can't. Can't see something. I wanted to draw the difference. Okay. You're unable to see yellow. Are you able to see green?
The yellow is even it's better than the green.
Okay. Let's try the yellow one. Let's just try the yellow one. So I just want to show you the difference. Now look, let's set the price below the equilibrium. At what price? Let's say 40. What happens? What happens to the supply? So when you set the price at 40, then supply will be what? Let's say 10 what? P. Okay, solving, I can use the other mark, I think, for solving. We can say 10P minus 300, right? We want to see how much we are supplying. So 10 times 40 minus 300, right? That will be 400. 400 minus what? 300. Is it? In the supply equation, 40 times that's 400. That will give us what will be the quantity supplied. It will be, yeah, it will be 100. It makes sense. So I've seen the quantity supplied will be 100, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's only me who has not drawn it properly. What did I do? It should be like this. Okay. It's me who didn't draw it properly. So the 40 is here. So this is the graph. Yeah, it's moving like this here. This is how it will be. So you've seen, we will just supply only 100. That will be the quantity supplied. When the price has been reduced to 40, the companies are willing to supply only 100 units. There is a problem here. Let's talk about the demand. Let's talk about the demand now and see what happens about the demand. Look what happens. In the demand function, this is where you are going to substitute, 10P. And your P is what? It's 40, right? You have 600 minus 4, 100, giving us 200. Have you seen that? So you can see that now the demand, the demand will only be what? 200. Okay? The demand will be 200. So which simply means that the firms can only demand what? At this point, when the price is 40, there is a problem. People will demand more, so that the demand will increase, right? Because it's cheaper, it's 40. You see a lot of quantity demanded increasing from 150 to 200 at 40. Have you seen the way how it is changing? So people will demand 200 units, but the firms, those producing, they'll be saying, no, we can't dare. Why should we, you know? So those who are supplying are not willing even to supply up to that. They're just saying, okay, we'll just supply them 200 units. They want 200 units. So there is a problem here. So this is a problem that you find. There will be what? A shortage. This is what is called a shortage. Right. Or a deficit, if you may like to call it. Right? There is a deficiency, there is a deficit or shortage in supply. Does that help? So I've just supplied 100 and people want to get 200. So this is what will happen now. People will start complaining at their markets. No, there is no enough of VC, Chani, you know? Any question? Ideally, I'm not rushing to answer a lot of questions. I want you to understand these properly. It's better you understand one question and you're okay. Then we do everything and then you go the same way. Any question? No questions, sir. You can proceed. If that is the case, then we are good to go. And the question is C, outline any 4 determinants of demand. The determinants of demand are the factors affecting demand. We can quickly list these and you can dive into the notes and get the detailed conversation. Really, the conversations are already done about this. The 4 factors are affecting demand. Number 1.
Price of the product.
The price, the own price of the product. The own price of the product.
Consumer income.
The consumer income.
Taste and preferences.
What about that? Okay, changes in tastes and preferences. Right.
And
what else?
Price of related goods.
The price of the related good, right? The complementary and the complementary and what? Substitute good. The expectations. Okay, there are many of them. Yeah, just wanted 4. You can add some more. So the on price indicate that the price, on price of the product, the income of the consumers, and the changes in tastes and preferences, the price of the related goods. Any question? You can explain them further. You know, you can give even illustrations. Just give a detailed conversation around this. Right. Any question? Hello? So when you follow through the recordings, there is a recording that is labeled maybe factors affecting demand and supply. You can find these conversations, a very detailed one. Yeah, at least you have seen what you're supposed to do. Now, there is a part where you're asked to distinguish with the help of diagrams, the change in demand and change in quantity demanded. Okay, what could be the difference? Let's start with the change in demand. Delta means change. Delta in demand. Change in demand. Wow. Change in demand. Just a minute. Okay. About change in demand. So change in demand, it is actually caused by the change in the other factors, okay, in the factors that affect demand or the determinants of demand other than price, okay? So the graphical representation of the same change in demand, let's fix supply. We can fix the price at P star. Look at the price, that the price is fixed. Then what will happen? The demand will shift from D1 to D2. Okay. So now this is change in demand. Okay. When there is a change in demand, what happens is that the demand curve shifts either to the right or to the what? To the left. And then the quantity demanded does increase from Q star to Q1. Okay. It is represented by a shift. You know, look at the price. Price is not moving. Price is fixed, meaning you hold the price constant. That's about change in demand. Okay. So as long as the change in that quantity demanded has been affected, you know, by the factors that affect demand other than price. Of course, the price that I'm talking about is the price of the product, the own price. And then that will cause a change in demand, not a change in quantity demanded. And those factors would include income, just as we have cited them. Income, it could be changes in tastes and preferences. It could be expectations. It could be just the price of the related goods, among others. This is about change in demand. What about change in quantity demanded? Change in what? In quantity demanded, QD. Change in quantity demanded is, you know, let's say demand, supply. With this one, it is a movement along the demand curve that is caused by what? Let's say Q1, P1. It is caused by the change in price, holding other factors constant. So assuming these other factors have not changed, right? When the price changes from P1 to P what? P2, what happens? Have you seen that demand has changed? The quantity demanded, not demand, the quantity demanded has changed to Q2. It has reduced, right? If you reduce again the price, let's say this is P3, what happens to the demand? The quantity demanded does what? Increases to Q3. And if you've observed, this is just a movement along the what? The demand curve caused by the movement in prices, the changes in price. This is what is called change in quantity demanded. It's not the change in demand, no. It is the change in quantity demanded. So when you are saying, I should take advantage of this conversation to highlight, look, when we are citing the law of demand, when you are citing the law of demand, you do not say that there is a negative or an inverse relationship between demand and the price. That is wrong. Instead, you say there is a negative relationship between the price and the quantity. You know that the relationship which is there is not between price and the demand itself. No, it is between the price and the quantity demanded. Is that clear? Okay.